I spent 2 days cooking a perfect Thanksgiving turkey, only to overhear my daughter-in-law call me a burden and banish my grandson to eat alone in the kitchen while she impressed strangers in my dining room. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and let us know where you are listening in the comments. This helps us grow and share more stories that hit hard. I wasn't supposed to hear it, but I did. I was standing in the garage, my arms full of firewood for the hearth, the one I'd laid the stone for myself, years back when my daughter-in-law's voice carried through the heating vent. Crystal clear. The kind of clarity that changes everything. He's such a burden, honestly. I don't know why we have to pretend anymore. My son laughed. Not the uncomfortable kind, the agreeing kind. I stood there, holding split oak against my chest, and felt something crack that had nothing to do with wood. It was Thanksgiving Day, 42 degrees outside. I'd been up since 5 that morning, prepping the turkey they'd requested heritage breed, 22 pounds, ordered special from a farm 3 counties over because Jennifer said the supermarket ones were too commercial. I'd brined it for 2 days. Made the stuffing from scratch, using my late wife's recipe, the one with sage and chestnuts that took 4 hours of careful work. The house smelled like everything a home should smell like on Thanksgiving. Warm, rich, full of promise. But I wasn't welcome at the table. Let me back up, give you the full picture. My name is Robert. I'm 68 years old. I built the house they were sitting in with my own hands, starting when I was 31. Every beam, every fixture. Took me 3 years of weekends and evenings after my shifts at the plant. My wife Sarah picked out every tile in the kitchen, every paint color. We raised our son Daniel there. Good schools, safe neighborhood, the kind of place where you know your neighbors' names and they know yours. Sarah died 6 years ago, pancreatic cancer, 4 months from diagnosis to funeral. The kind of fast that doesn't give you time to prepare, only time to watch someone you love disappear. Daniel had married Jennifer 2 years before that. I paid for the wedding, $32,000. Jennifer wanted it at the Riverside Club with the gardens and the string quartet. Sarah and I had saved that money for a trip to Ireland we never got to take. I wrote the check anyway because that's what you do. That's what family does. When Sarah got sick, Jennifer was helpful at first, brought casseroles, sat with Sarah when I needed to run errands. But after the funeral, something shifted. Daniel started talking about our future and building equity and investment opportunities. They moved in with me 8 months after Sarah died. Temporary, they said, just while they saved for a down payment. That was 5 years ago. I paid for Daniel's college, state school, but still $48,000 over 4 years. I paid for Jennifer's car when theirs broke down, $15,000. I paid for the renovations they wanted, new countertops, bathroom upgrades, the deck extension, another $23,000. I kept a ledger in my desk drawer, not because I wanted repayment, because I wanted to remember what love looked like in numbers, in case I ever forgot. My grandson Ethan arrived 3 years ago. I loved that boy from the first moment. He had Sarah's eyes, bright and curious and kind. I'd take him to the park, teach him to identify birds, read him stories before bed. He called me Grandpa Bob, and his laugh sounded like wind chimes. Then 6 months ago, Jennifer got a promotion, marketing director at some tech firm downtown. Good money, real good money. Suddenly, there were new clothes, new furniture, talk of European vacations, and suddenly, I was in the way. It started small. Jennifer would make comments about my cooking. Your kind of food is a little heavy for us now. We're eating cleaner. My kind of food, the same recipes Sarah and I had perfected over 30 years. Then it was my routines. I wake early. Always have. I'd make coffee, read the paper in the kitchen. Jennifer started complaining about the noise, asked if I could maybe stay in my room until a more reasonable hour. My room. In the house I built, Daniel stopped meeting my eyes, started spending longer hours at work. When he was home, he'd go straight to their bedroom, the master suite that used to be mine and Sarah's. I'd moved to the smaller guest room when they moved in. Temporary, remember? 3 weeks before Thanksgiving, I overheard another conversation, this time in the living room. I was coming in from the yard. "We need to talk about your father," Jennifer said. "I know," Daniel replied. "He's not going to leave on his own. And legally, this is complicated. The house is in his name. For now, but we've been paying the utilities, the property tax. We could make a case for tenancy rights. Maybe even—" I cleared my throat, walked into the room. They both froze. "Just wanted to let you know the gutters are cleaned," I said. "Should be good through winter." Jennifer smiled. That practiced smile she used at work functions. "Thank you, Robert. That's very helpful." I went to my room and sat on the bed Sarah and I had bought at an estate sale 40 years ago. The frame was solid walnut, barely worn. We'd refinished it together one summer, laughing as we got more stain on ourselves than the wood. I made a decision that night. The next morning, I called my lawyer. Bill Patterson, same age as me, handled Sarah's will. Good man, careful. "Bill, I need to understand something. The house is in my name, right?" "Solely?" "That's correct, Robert. Sarah's half transferred to you upon her death. It's entirely yours. And if I wanted to, make changes to that?" There was a pause. Bill knew me well enough to hear what I wasn't saying. "What kind of changes are we talking about?" "The kind that make sure certain people understand what gratitude means and what happens when you forget it." We talked for an hour. I took notes in the same ledger where I'd tracked every dollar I'd spent on my son and his family. By the end of the call, I knew exactly what I was going to do. But I wasn't going to rush it, because here's what I've learned in 68 years. Revenge is a dish best served with documentation. I started keeping records. Not just financial. I had those already, but everything else. I bought a small voice recorder, the kind that looks like a pen, $50 online. I started documenting conversations. Not all of them. Just the ones where Jennifer talked about the old man and how much longer and what the house would be worth if we renovated properly. I documented the night Daniel told Ethan that Grandpa Bob was scarred, going through a hard time, and that's why he seemed sad. I wasn't going through a hard time. I was going through a reckoning. I documented Jennifer's call to her mother, speakerphone in the kitchen, while I was supposedly napping. "He's so stubborn, Mom. Won't even discuss assisted living. I've looked at facilities. There are nice ones. He could sell the house, use that money, and we could finally have our own space. Assisted living." I ran 3 miles every morning, volunteered at the library twice a week, had better blood pressure than my son, but I said nothing, just smiled, just cooked, just kept being useful while they planned my exit. 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, Jennifer announced they were hosting a proper Thanksgiving, she said. "I've invited some colleagues, people from the firm, the Hendersons from Daniel's office. We really want to make a good impression." "Sounds lovely," I said. "What can I do to help?" She looked almost surprised. "Actually, if you could handle the turkey, that would be great. You do that well. Very traditional. Traditional. Like it was a limitation." "Of course," I said. "Happy to." "Oh, and Robert?" She touched my arm. Gentle, concerned. "We're going to have a lot of people. 15, maybe 20. The dining room will be pretty packed. Would you mind eating in the kitchen? Just this once? It's really about space. I looked at her. Really looked. Tried to find the woman my son had fallen in love with. Tried to see what he saw. The kitchen, I repeated. Just this once. And honestly, you tend to eat earlier anyway, right? Maybe you could have your meal before everyone arrives? That way you're not… I mean, it would just be easier. Daniel was standing behind her. He didn't say anything. Didn't object. Didn't defend me. Sure, I said. Whatever works best. She smiled, relieved. You're so understanding. This is why you're wonderful. I wasn't wonderful. I was documenting. Thanksgiving morning arrived cold. Frost on the windows. The kind of morning Sarah used to love. Because it meant the heat from the kitchen would make the whole house feel like a hug. I was up at 5. Got the turkey in the oven. Made the stuffing. Peeled potatoes. Prepared green beans. Baked 3 pies, pumpkin, apple, and pecan. By 10 a.m., the house smelled like a magazine spread. Jennifer came down at 10:30, already dressed for guests. Black dress, pearls, hair perfect. Oh, wow, she said. This is amazing, Robert. Really, you've outdone yourself. My pleasure. So you'll eat around 2? Before people arrive at 4? Actually, I said, I was thinking I might go visit the Morrows. Ed invited me over. Didn't want to be in the way during your party. Her face lit up. Actual relief. That's so thoughtful. Yes, that would be perfect. The Morrows were old friends. Ed and I served in Vietnam together, but I hadn't been invited anywhere. I just wanted to see what she'd say. Great, I said. I'll just clean up here and head out around 3. Perfect. She poured coffee, checked her phone, left the kitchen. I kept cooking. Around 11, Ethan came downstairs. He was 4 years old, wearing his favorite dinosaur pajamas, the blue ones with the T-Rex that Sarah had bought him before she died. Hi, Grandpa Bob. Hey, buddy. Happy Thanksgiving. It smells good. Turkey's cooking. You excited for today? He shrugged. Small shoulders under flannel. Mommy says there's going to be lots of grown-ups. That's right. Will you be here? I crouched down, looked him in the eyes. Sarah's eyes. I'll be here for a bit, but Grandpa might go visit some friends later. Oh, he looked down. Okay. You'll have fun, though. Lots of people to meet. He nodded, but he didn't look convinced. Jennifer called from upstairs. Ethan, come get dressed, sweetie. He ran off. I stood there in the kitchen I'd designed, in the house I'd built, and felt the full weight of what I'd become to them. An inconvenience, a servant, someone to be managed. Around 1 p.m., Daniel came down. He was nervous, I could tell. Kept adjusting his collar. Hey, Dad, everything looks great. Thanks, son. So, you're heading to the Morrows? That's the plan. He nodded, relieved, just like his wife. Well, have a good time. We'll save you leftovers. Leftovers of the meal I'd cooked, in the house I'd built, for the family I'd raised and funded and loved. Appreciate that, I said. He left. I took the turkey out at 2:30. 22 pounds of perfect golden brown heritage bird. Crispy skin. Herb butter basted. The kind of centerpiece that would make Jennifer's colleagues think she was the kind of woman who could orchestrate this level of domestic excellence. I carved it. Plated it on the serving platter Sarah and I got as a wedding gift. Set it in the warming drawer. Then I went to my room and put on my coat. It was 2:45 p.m. I walked back downstairs. Jennifer was in the dining room, adjusting place. Settings, 20 plates, cloth napkins, the good china that had been Sarah's grandmother's. Heading out, I said. She looked up. Oh, perfect. Yes. Have a wonderful time, Robert. And thank you again. Everything looks beautiful.
You're welcome.
I walked toward the door, stopped, turned back. Jennifer? Yes? Where's Ethan going to sit? She blinked. What do you mean? I count 20 place settings. Where's Ethan's spot? Oh, he's eating in the kitchen. You know how kids are at formal dinners. He'll be more comfortable in the kitchen. Yes, I've set up a little table for him. Very cute. I looked at my son. He was arranging wine bottles on the sideboard. Daniel, your son is eating in the kitchen while strangers eat at your grandmother's china? He turned. Defensive. Dad, it's just easier this way. He's 4. He doesn't care. He cares? I said quietly. You just don't notice. Jennifer's smile tightened. Robert, we really don't have time for... I know, I said. You're busy. I'll get out of your way. I walked out the front door and closed it behind me. Then I walked around to the side of the house, to the garage, where I'd left the firewood that morning, and I sat down on the cold concrete floor, and I waited. Because here's the thing they didn't know. I hadn't been invited to the Morrows. I wasn't going anywhere. I was going to sit in my garage, in 42-degree weather, while my family ate the meal I'd cooked without me. But I wasn't doing it out of self-pity. I was doing it because I wanted to know what it felt like, to be outside, to be cold, to be forgotten. I wanted to feel the full weight of what they'd done so I'd never second-guess what I was about to do next. The garage door was closed. The side door was cracked. I could hear everything happening inside through the heating vents. At 4 p.m., the guests started arriving. Voices, laughter, Jennifer's bright hostess tone. So glad you could make it. Come in. Come in. At 4:30, I heard someone say, Jennifer, this turkey is incredible. You're amazing. Oh, thank you. It's a heritage breed. I special ordered it. Not, Robert cooked this. Not, my father-in-law prepared everything. Just, I. At 5, I heard Ethan's small voice from inside. Mommy, can I sit with you? Sweetie, you have your special table in the kitchen, remember? But I want to sit with everyone. Ethan, we talked about this. Go eat your dinner like a big boy. Silence, then small footsteps. I sat there on the concrete, watching my breath fog in the cold air, and listened to strangers laugh in my house. At 5:30, my phone rang. Bill Patterson. Robert, just confirming. You want me to proceed? I looked at the closed garage door, at the house beyond it, at the life I'd built that no longer had room for me. Yes, I said. Effective immediately. You're sure? I thought about Ethan eating alone in the kitchen, about Jennifer taking credit for my work, about Daniel's silence. I've never been more sure of anything in my life. All right, Bill said. I'll have the papers drawn up by Monday. And Robert? Yeah? For what it's worth, you're doing the right thing. I hung up, sat there until 6:30, until I heard the party winding down, until the guests started leaving and Jennifer's voice called out bright goodbyes. Then I stood up, brushed off my pants, and walked back inside through the garage entrance. Jennifer was in the kitchen, loading the dishwasher. She jumped when she saw me. Robert! God, you scared me. I thought you were still out. Got back a bit ago. Came in through the garage. Oh, well, dinner was wonderful. Everyone loved it. Glad to hear it. She smiled, turned back to the dishes. I walked past her, into the dining room. The table was cleared. My grandmother-in-law's china was stacked on the sideboard, waiting to be washed. In the kitchen, there was a small folding table pushed against the wall, a plastic dinosaur plate with congealed mashed potatoes, a juice box, a chair turned sideways like someone had left in a hurry. I climbed the stairs to my room, the guest room that used to be storage, and I lay down on the bed. Sarah and I had refinished together, and I smiled, because in 3 days, everything was going to change. Monday morning, Bill called at 9 a.m. "Papers are ready. Can you come by the office?" "On my way." I told Jennifer I had an appointment. Didn't say what kind. She barely looked up from her laptop. Bill's office was downtown, 3rd floor of a renovated building that used to be a department store. His secretary knew me, smiled when I walked in. "Robert, go right in. He's expecting you." Bill stood when I entered, shook my hand, gestured to the chair across from his desk. "Before we proceed, I want to make absolutely sure you understand what this means." "I understand. You're transferring the house into a living trust with you as the sole beneficiary during your lifetime. Upon your death, the property goes to your grandson, Ethan, held in trust until he turns 25. Your son and daughter-in-law have no claim, no inheritance, no right to the property at any point." "Correct. You're also revoking the informal tenancy arrangement. They have 30 days to vacate." "Yes." "Robert, this is going to cause a lot of anger." I looked at him. "Bill, my grandson ate Thanksgiving dinner alone in the kitchen while strangers ate at my table. My daughter-in-law took credit for food I spent 2 days preparing. My son stood by and said nothing. I'm not causing anger. I'm responding to it." He nodded slowly, pushed the papers across the desk. "Then sign here, here, and here." I signed 3 times. Blue ink, steady hand. "I'll file these today. They'll be served notice tomorrow." "Perfect. What are you going to do in the meantime?" I stood. "Go home." "Wait. You're calm about this." "I've been calm about this for months. That's why I know it's right." I drove home, parked in the garage, walked into the house I'd built that was now legally untouchable by anyone but me. Jennifer was in the living room on a work call. She gave me a little wave. I went to my room and started packing. Not everything, just the essentials: clothes, papers, photos of Sarah, the ledger, because I knew what was coming, and I wanted to be ready. Tuesday at 11 a.m., a courier arrived. I was in the kitchen when the doorbell rang. Jennifer answered. I heard her talking, then silence, then her voice, sharp. "Daniel, Daniel, come here!" I walked into the hallway. Jennifer was holding a large envelope. Her face was white. "What is this?" she said. "What's what?" This. Legal notice. It says we have 30 days to vacate. It says the house is in a trust. It says," she looked up at me. "What did you do?" Daniel came down the stairs, still in his work clothes. "What's going on?" Jennifer thrust the papers at him. "Your father is kicking us out." I stood there, calm, hands in my pockets. Daniel read the papers. His face changed. Shock, then anger. "Dad, what the hell is this?" "It's exactly what it says. The house is mine. It's going to stay mine. And when I'm gone, it goes to Ethan. You have 30 days to find somewhere else to live." "You can't do this," Jennifer said. Her voice was shaking. "I already did. It's filed. Legal. Binding. But we've been paying utilities, property tax, which I appreciate. I'll reimburse you for your half of those expenses. I have receipts." "Our half?" She laughed, high-pitched, disbelieving. "We've been living here for 5 years." "At my invitation, which I'm now withdrawing." Daniel stepped forward. "Dad, this is insane. Where are we supposed to go?" "That's not my problem, son. You're both employed. You have good incomes. You'll figure it out. This is about Thanksgiving, isn't it?" Jennifer's face was red now. Because I asked you to eat separately? That's what this is about? I looked at her. Really looked. No, Jennifer. This is about the fact that my grandson ate alone in the kitchen while you impressed your colleagues in the dining room. This is about you taking credit for work I did. This is about 5 years of being treated like an inconvenience in my own home. This is about you planning to put me in assisted living so you could finally have your own space. This is about my son standing by and letting it all happen. The room went dead silent. Daniel's face drained of color. You heard that? I heard a lot of things. I've been hearing things for months. Jennifer's hands were shaking. You were spying on us? I was listening. There's a difference. And what I heard told me everything I needed to know about where I stand in this family. Dad, please. Daniel's voice cracked. We can talk about this. We can fix this. No, we can't. Because the problem isn't a problem. Misunderstanding. The problem is that you both forgot something fundamental. You forgot gratitude. You forgot respect. And you forgot that I'm not an obstacle in your life. I'm the reason you have one. I pulled the ledger from my pocket, opened it. $48,000 for your college, $32,000 for your wedding, $15,000 for the car, $23,000 for renovations, 5 years of free housing, 5 years of meals, utilities, labor, and love. I kept track, Daniel, not because I wanted repayment, because I wanted to remember what I gave you in case you ever forgot. I closed the ledger. You forgot. Jennifer was crying now, angry tears. This is cruel. We have a child. I know. That's why he's in the trust. Because unlike you, I actually care about his future. You're punishing him, she said. No, I'm protecting him. From growing up thinking this is what family looks like, I turned to walk away. Daniel grabbed my arm. Dad, wait, please. We'll apologize. We'll change. Just don't do this. I looked down at his hand on my arm, then at his face, and I saw something I hadn't seen in 5 years. Fear. Not fear of losing the house. Fear of losing me. Too late. You have 30 days, I said quietly. I suggest you start looking. I went to my room and closed the door. Behind me, I heard Jennifer sobbing, heard Daniel's voice, low and urgent, heard footsteps, doors slamming, and I felt nothing but relief. That night, Ethan knocked on my door. Grandpa Bob? Come in, buddy. He pushed the door open. His eyes were red. He'd been crying. Mommy says we have to move. That's right. Because you're mad at us? I knelt down. Eye level. No, Ethan. Not at you. Never at you. Then why? How do you explain betrayal to a 4-year-old? How do you explain that sometimes the people who are supposed to love you forget how? Because sometimes grown-ups make mistakes. And when they do, there are consequences. What's consequences? It means things change, and people have to learn from what they did wrong. He looked down. I don't want to leave. I like it here. I like you. My chest tightened. I like you too, buddy. So much. Will I still see you? Of course. Whenever you want. That will never change. He hugged me. Small arms around my neck. He smelled like the apple-scented shampoo Sarah used to buy. I love you, Grandpa Bob. I love you too, Ethan. He left. I sat there on the edge of the bed and let myself feel the one thing I'd been avoiding for months. Grief. Not for the house, not for the money, for the family I thought I had, for the son I'd raised who'd turned into someone I didn't recognize, for the years I'd spent trying to be useful, trying to be loved, trying to matter. But grief doesn't last when it's mixed with righteous anger. And I was so very, very angry. Over the next week, things deteriorated fast. Jennifer stopped speaking to me, would leave the room when I entered. Daniel tried a few more times to negotiate, to bargain, to guilt me into changing my mind. "What about Mom?" he said one night. "What would she think about this?" I looked at him. "Your mother would have never let it get this far. She would have seen what was happening and stopped it. But she's gone. And you let me be erased." He didn't have an answer for that. They started looking at apartments. I heard Jennifer on the phone with real estate agents, her voice tight and angry. 3-bedroom, at least 1,500 square feet, good school district. Budget is, well, we'll need to see. I knew what that meant. They'd been saving, but not enough for the kind of place they wanted. They'd gotten comfortable living rent-free, comfortable letting me subsidize their lifestyle. That comfort was over. 1 week before their move-out date, Jennifer tried a different approach. She knocked on my door, polite, tentative. "Robert, can we talk?" "Sure." She sat in the chair by the window, the one Sarah used to read in. "I want to apologize. I waited. I was thoughtless. About Thanksgiving. About a lot of things. You've been generous, and I took advantage of that. I see that now. Okay. I'm asking you to reconsider. Not for me. For Ethan. He loves this house. He loves you. Moving is going to be so hard on him. Jennifer, Ethan will be fine. Kids are resilient, and he'll still see me. But it won't be the same. No, it won't. But that's not my fault." She looked down. "I know you think I'm a terrible person. I don't think you're terrible. I think you're entitled. And I think you forgot that generosity isn't a right. It's a gift. And gifts can be taken back when they're not appreciated. I appreciate. No, you don't. You appreciated what I could provide, not who I am. There's a difference." She stood, angry again. The apology was over. "You're going to regret this. When you're alone in this big house with no one. When you realize you pushed your family away." I smiled. "Jennifer, I've been alone in this house for 5 years. You just didn't notice." She left. 2 days before move-out, Daniel came to me with a different angle. "Dad, I've been doing some research. Legally, you might have a problem. We've been paying utilities and property tax. We could make a case for tenancy contribution, maybe even partial ownership." I looked at him. My son, the boy I'd taught to ride a bike, to tie a tie, to change a tire. The man who was now threatening to sue me. "Go ahead," I said. "Take me to court. Spend money on lawyers. Drag this out. See what happens. I don't want to do that. Then don't. I just want what's fair." "Fair?" I stood up. "You want fair? Okay. Let's talk about fair." I went to my desk, pulled out the ledger, opened it. College tuition, $48,000. Wedding, $32,000. $15,000. Renovations, $23,000. 5 years of housing, utilities, food, labor. I estimate at market rate rent, we're talking another $150,000. Total $268,000. You want fair? Pay me back, with interest. Then we'll talk about what you've contributed." Daniel stared at the ledger. "That's not. You never asked for repayment. Because I didn't want it. Because you were my son, and I loved you, and I wanted to help you build a life. But if you're going to talk to me about fair, then let's be fair. You owe me $250,000. Can you pay that?" Silence. "I didn't think so. You have 2 days. I suggest you pack." He left without another word. Move-out day was a Saturday. Cold, overcast. The kind of day that matches the mood. I stayed in my room most of the morning, listening to the sounds of boxes being carried, furniture being loaded. Jennifer's sharp instructions to the movers they'd hired. Around noon, there was a knock. "Come in." Daniel stood in the doorway. He looked exhausted, older than his, 39 years. "We're almost done." "Okay. I just wanted to say, I'm sorry. For all of it. You're right. We took advantage." "I took advantage, and I let Jennifer treat you in ways I shouldn't have allowed." I nodded, said nothing. "I don't know if you'll ever forgive me." "I don't know either," I said. "But I know this. I love you. I always will. But love doesn't mean letting people hurt you. It means knowing when to walk away." "We're not walking away. You're pushing us out." "No, Daniel. You walked away 5 years ago. You just didn't leave the house." He stood there for a long moment. Then he turned and left. An hour later, I heard the front door close for the last time, heard the moving truck pull away, heard silence settle over the house like snow. I walked downstairs. The living room was empty. The dining room was empty. They'd taken the furniture they'd bought, left the pieces that were mine. The kitchen was clean, counters wiped, floors swept. A small envelope sat on the table. Inside was a note in Jennifer's handwriting. "Keys are on the counter. Forwarding address attached. Please let us know when Ethan can visit." No apology. No gratitude. Just logistics. I stood there in the kitchen I'd designed, in the house I'd built, and felt the weight of 37 years of memories. Then I poured myself 2 fingers of whiskey, sat in Sarah's chair by the window, and watched the sun set through the trees we'd planted when Daniel was 6. And for the first time in 5 years, I felt at home. The next few weeks were strange, quiet. The house felt bigger without their noise, their clutter, their constant presence. But it didn't feel empty. It felt clean. I established new routines. Morning coffee in the kitchen, without worrying about noise. Reading in the living room without Jennifer's passive-aggressive comments about my choice of books. Cooking meals I wanted to eat, not meals designed to impress. I saw Ethan twice. Daniel would drop him off, exchange minimal words, pick him up. The conversations were stiff, formal, like we were strangers navigating a business transaction. But with Ethan, everything was easy. We'd go to the park, build blanket forts, read stories. He never asked why we didn't all live together anymore. Kids accept change more readily than adults. They don't carry the weight of resentment. One afternoon, about a month after they moved out, Bill called. "Robert, I thought you should know. Daniel and Jennifer tried to contest the trust." "What?" "They filed a petition claiming undue influence. Said you weren't in your right mind when you made the changes, that you were manipulated or coerced." I laughed. Actually laughed. "By who? Myself?" That was essentially the judge's response. He threw it out. "The trust stands. But Robert, they're not done. Jennifer's lawyer is now looking into whether they can claim equity based on their financial contributions to the household. Let them try. It'll be expensive for them. Legal fees add up." "Good. Maybe they'll learn something about the cost of entitlement." Bill was quiet for a moment. "You've changed, Robert. You're harder now." "No, Bill, I'm clearer. There's a difference." 3 months after they moved out, I got a call from Daniel. His voice was strained. "Dad, can we meet? Just you and me?" "Where?" "Anywhere. Coffee?" We met at a diner, halfway between his new apartment and the house. It was a Tuesday morning. The place was mostly empty. Waitresses refilling coffee for the regulars. Daniel looked thin, tired. He ordered coffee, didn't touch it. "We're struggling," he said finally. I waited. "Rent is $2,200 a month, plus utilities, daycare for Ethan, student loans, car payments. Jennifer's salary is good, but not good enough to cover everything. We had to pull from savings. And the legal fees. The legal fees from suing me, you mean? He flinched. Yeah. Daniel, I'm not sure what I want me to say. I want. He looked up. His eyes were red. I want to understand how you could do this. How you could just cut us off. We're your family. No, Ethan is my family. You and Jennifer are people I used to know who happen to share my blood and my house. That's not fair. You keep using that word, fair. Let me ask you something. Was it fair that I cooked an entire Thanksgiving meal and wasn't invited to eat it? Was it fair that Jennifer took credit for my work? Was it fair that you discussed putting me in a home so you could have your own space in the house I built? We never seriously. I have recordings, Daniel. He went pale. What? I recorded conversations. For months. Every dismissive comment. Every plan to edge me out. Every moment you both forgot. I was a person with feelings and not just a convenient source of free labor and housing. You recorded us? I documented you because I knew this moment would come. The moment you'd try to rewrite history, try to make me the villain. But I have proof, hours of it. So don't come here and talk to me about fair. He stared at his coffee. I don't know what to say. There's nothing to say. You made choices. Now you're living with the consequences. That's not cruelty. That's life. Jennifer wants to apologize. Formally, she thinks maybe if we both no. Dad, no, Daniel. I don't want her apology. I don't want yours. What I want is for you to understand that relationships are built on respect, and you can't respect someone you treat like a servant. You can't love someone you're trying to erase. I stood up, left a 20 on the table. Take care of your son. That's all I ask. I walked out. Behind me, I heard him say my name, but I didn't turn back. 6 months after they moved out, something shifted. I was at the grocery store, loading bags into my car, when I heard a voice. Robert? I turned. A woman, mid-60s, familiar face. It took me a moment. Linda Henderson? She smiled. I thought that was you. How are you? Linda and her husband Mark had been at the Thanksgiving dinner. One of Jennifer's colleague couples. I'm well. You? Good. Listen, I heard what happened. With your son and daughter-in-law. I tensed. Oh? Jennifer told people you had some kind of breakdown, that you kicked them out irrationally. My jaw tightened. But then I ran into Bill Patterson at the courthouse. He's my cousin. And he told me the real story. I looked at her. I just wanted to say, I'm sorry. I didn't know. At that dinner, Jennifer made it seem like she'd done everything. Like it was her house. Her work. I had no idea. It's fine. It's not fine. And I wanted you to know. People know now. The real story is out. And Jennifer's reputation at the firm has taken a hit. People don't like being lied to. I felt a small flicker of satisfaction. Not triumph. Just validation. Thank you for telling me. Also, Linda said, Mark and I are having a holiday party in December. We'd love for you to come, if you're interested. I smiled. I'd like that. Great. I'll send you an invite. She squeezed my hand and left. I stood there in the parking lot, groceries in my trunk, and realized something. I wasn't alone. December came. The holiday party was at the Hendersons' place, a restored Victorian downtown. Warm lights, good wine, interesting people. I met a woman there, Margaret. She was a retired teacher, widowed 3 years ago. We talked for an hour about books, about gardening, about the strange loneliness of losing a spouse. It's like learning to live in a house with half the furniture missing, she said. Exactly. But you adapt, you rearrange. and eventually it starts to feel like home again. We exchanged numbers, started having coffee, then dinners. Nothing romantic, just companionship. The kind of easy friendship that doesn't demand anything but presence. For Christmas, I invited Ethan to stay with me for a week. Daniel agreed. Jennifer wasn't happy about it, but she didn't fight. Ethan and I decorated the tree together, baked cookies, watched old movies. On Christmas morning, he opened presents in the living room, where his father had opened presents 30 years before. "Grandpa Bob?" "Yeah, buddy?" "I like it here. It's quiet." "Is quiet good?" He nodded. "At the new place, Mommy and Daddy fight a lot." My heart sank. "I'm sorry, Ethan." "It's okay. When I'm here, it's better." I pulled him close. "You can always come here, whenever you want. This is your home, too." He looked up at me, Sarah's eyes, bright and trusting. "Really?" "Really." We spent the rest of the day making hot chocolate and building with the Lego set I'd gotten him. No drama, no tension, just the kind of simple joy that comes from being wanted. When Daniel picked him up, Ethan hugged me hard. "Bye, Grandpa Bob. I love you." "Love you too, buddy." After they left, I sat in Sarah's chair and looked at the tree, at the ornaments we'd collected over decades, at the house that had survived betrayal and anger and loss, and I felt something I hadn't felt in years: peace. A year after I'd signed the papers, Daniel called. "Dad, can I come over?" "Sure." He arrived on a Saturday afternoon, alone. He looked different, less polished, more worn. We sat in the living room. I offered coffee. He accepted. "I've been in therapy," he said. "Good. Trying to understand how things got so bad, how I let them get so bad." I listened. Jennifer and I are separating. I felt a pang, not of satisfaction, of sadness. "I'm sorry." "Don't be. It's the right thing. We've been toxic for a while. The move, the financial stress, it just made everything worse. But it wasn't the cause. The cause was us, who we'd become." "What about Ethan?" "Joint custody. I got a smaller place. 1 bedroom. But it's mine. I'm paying for it. I'm taking responsibility." "That's good, Daniel." He looked at me. "I came to apologize. Really apologize. Not because I want something. Not because I think it'll change anything. But because you deserve to hear it. I waited. I treated you terribly. I let Jennifer treat you terribly. I was so focused on what I wanted, on building this perfect life, that I forgot about the person who made it all possible. I forgot about you. And I'm sorry. I'm so deeply sorry." His voice cracked. He was crying. "I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't expect anything. I just needed you to know that I see it now. I see what I did. And I hate myself for it." I sat there, looking at my son, the boy I'd raised, the man who'd hurt me, the person who was finally taking accountability. "Daniel," I said quietly, "I forgive you." He looked up, shocked. "What?" "I forgive you. Not because what you did was okay, but because holding on to anger was eating me alive. And because you're my son. And because Ethan deserves to have a grandfather who isn't consumed by bitterness." He broke down, full, shaking sobs. I stood up, walked over, and put my hand on his shoulder. We stood there for a long time, father and son, broken and rebuilding. Eventually, he calmed down, wiped his eyes. "Thank you," he whispered. "You're welcome. Can I come by sometimes? Just to visit?" "Of course." "And Ethan? Ethan is always welcome. You know that." He nodded, stood up, gave me a hug, a real one. "I love you, Dad." "I love you too, son. After he left, I sat in the living room and felt the weight of a year lift. Forgiveness, I realized, isn't about forgetting. It's about releasing. It's about choosing peace over pain. And I chose peace. 2 years after everything changed, I hosted Thanksgiving again. Not a big affair, just the people who mattered. Daniel and Ethan, Margaret, the Hendersons, Bill Patterson and his wife. A small group, 8 people around the table. I cooked the turkey, heritage breed, brined for 2 days, made Sarah's stuffing, baked 3 pies. We ate in the dining room, at my grandmother-in-law's china, with Ethan sitting right next to me. During the meal, Margaret raised her glass. I'd like to make a toast to Robert for opening his home and his heart, for showing us that family isn't just blood, it's choice, it's love, it's showing up. Thank you for letting us be part of yours. Everyone raised their glasses. To Robert. I looked around the table, at the faces, some old, some new, all chosen, and I realized something. I hadn't lost my family 2 years ago. I'd found it. After dinner, Ethan and I did dishes together. He stood on a stool, drying plates while I washed. Grandpa Bob? Yeah, buddy? This was the best Thanksgiving ever. I smiled. Yeah? Yeah. Because everyone was happy, and no one was in the kitchen by themselves. I looked down at him, 6 years old now. Bright and kind and perceptive. You're right, buddy. That does make it better. Will we do this again next year? Absolutely. He grinned, went back to drying. Later that night, after everyone had gone home, I sat in Sarah's chair by the window. The house was quiet, clean, full of the kind of warmth that comes from genuine connection. I thought about the last 2 years, the pain, the anger, the legal battles and cold silences, the slow, difficult work of rebuilding. And I thought about what I'd learned, that boundaries aren't cruelty, they're self-respect, that forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation, it means release, that family is built, not given, that home isn't a place, it's a feeling, and that sometimes the greatest act of love is knowing when to let go. I picked up my phone, opened my photos, found the picture Margaret had taken that evening, all of us around the table, smiling, together. I set it as my wallpaper. Then I poured myself a small whiskey, raised the glass to Sarah's photo on the mantel, and whispered, "We did good, didn't we?" The house settled around me, warm, solid, mine, and I was home. If you liked this story, please like it, subscribe to the channel, and share your impressions in the comments. To listen to more stories, click on the window on the right. Thank you for watching.